Hello, Capricorn, and welcome to March 2025. My name is Steve. This is Soulfire Tarot, SOL. Soul, the sun. Let's get in it, Capricorn. All cap. No cap, no cap. Alrighty. And to begin the reading, I'm going to draw a couple psychic tarot cards here in the positive upright position. We have to begin the crown chakra. And the intuition card. Yeah. Trusting divine guidance, tuning in to be in the flow of unity, transcending limitations, connecting with source, following our inner guidance, the signs, symbols, dreams, significance of the world inside out, trusting our inner knowing, the deep voice within, our higher self, our guides, luminaries, and guardian spirits. Very nice, Capricorn. All right. And for tarot, let's see what kind of picture emerges here for the month of March 2025 here. All right, Capricorn. So we have a display here. Yeah, and I feel as a Capricorn myself, I can kind of relate with this. I don't want to impose too much of I don't want to impose my personal life on this, but I feel like I'm seeing here that there's a need for change. Some things are coming to a close or completing. There's like a letting go, but there's also like a hesitation. And this spoke to me right away. You have the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse, and then also the Prince of Swords in reverse. So what I'm seeing here, how this spoke to me is like keeping on the work, keeping on whatever it is that you feel you have been guided to intuitively. You know, something that relates to something transcendental and that is ultimately transformative. We have the Death card followed by the Tower in the center here, you know, gaining new perspective, something perhaps breaking down and or, you know, like a fall or really just kind of like a reorientation of coming back down to earth, being grounded and seeing things on the way down, and that there are greater forces at play. Yet we have the Ace of Swords, an auspicious opportunity to create with new ideas, something that you wield and that has great power and potency to change the direction and alignment of your life. Finally, the Ten of Pentacles, a feeling of completion, of legacy, a feeling of something worthwhile that feeds and nourishes and can be cultivated for a lifetime, something of prosperity, union, and a great deep satisfaction. There's also a tone of wisdom in this card of how we are cultivating. Very interesting. Yeah, so I feel like some of you, there might be either a hesitation or this is saying the Prince of Swords reverse to kind of get on what it is that you have to do. Get on to what it is that your inspiration, your intuition, your higher calling is nudging you towards. Because there is assistance. You see the cherubim, these small angels, helping to pull this figure in his flying chariot with his sword mightily and like, woohoo, yes, let's go, like towards whatever it is they're aiming to achieve and to take action in there. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. I see this as somebody confident, grounded, very sensitive, in touch with their sensitive side, feeling out. But that gives them a deep strength, a deep kind of rootedness to be able to overcome different obstacles and attack. Kind of strategic but grounded, step-by-step way to take leaps and bounds, a kind of agility too. We see with the goat, think about how a goat can move and bounce about and get on top of things, right? But I see this in reverse here next to this chariot, which is not the chariot card, in reverse, saying something about like, in order to do that, I feel like it's saying something about like a kind of like sacrifice of like letting go of some things, some kind of something that's going to facilitate a transformation, some kind of clearing to clear your perspective to really, I feel like, seize whatever this Ace of Swords is here. That high idea we see that could, kind of crown you with a kind of glory, a kind of radiance. If you can seize and wield this opportunity, it can really, really make a lasting benefit in the cultivation and the direction of your life, I feel, during this month of March, Capricorn, fellow Capricorns. I'm going to draw another Psychic Tarot card here. Yeah, this is something of destiny. So I feel like there's some really big wheels at play here. I certainly find that in my life, doing this channel and starting to put energy and devotion and feeling confident as this is something I want to pursue, my life path that connects with my gifts, my joy and my satisfaction. This is something that I feel like has been destined for years. And I had to take this kind of like rung of the wheel and be like, all right, here's the opportunity. The wheel's still turning. I'm going to jump on and like see where it takes me, but you got to help paddle the canoe, otherwise it ain't going nowhere. You're just going to be floating. It'd be nice to float and relax every now and then, but it's important to have the devotion, to tie in, to get into alignment, these multiple selves, these multiple timelines. The more we have these, let's say in this metaphor of multiple selves, multiple timelines in alignment here, the more power and force and fullness there is in the manifestation of what ultimately could be something related to destiny. And again, look at this, how beautiful these roses in this garden with this couple romantically getting to enjoy and come together in union, with the old gentleman in the foreground tending to his roses, sitting on this little stool, this luxurious stool, living a life as well cultivated, with abundance and bounty and a deep kind of grounded satisfaction that keeps giving, to future generations in life. So I'm going to pull another row here on top of the first row of cards. So for these, I'm going to bring the cards back together and do more fine-tuned kind of intuitive pull. With the deck, I'll shuffle it a little bit. Alrighty. Yeah. So underneath the Ace of Swords, we have Wheel of Fortune. So even just a moment ago, I was talking about how there's like different spokes on the wheel, and like imagine like jumping into one of those as it's moving, and this greater kind of like wheel of destiny, wheel of fortune of how things are kind of turning in motion in the universe, as things are going forward. I feel like this is saying to keep that in motion, and to keep kind of like putting in what you have, as that gets carried in the Wheel of Fortune as it's in motion. So, yeah. Oh, here it is underneath there. So, yeah, I feel like for some of you, there might be a fear of loss or that you're getting over something, something in the past that might not has been something in the past that wasn't working. And that might be cause for hesitation or pause for some of you that maybe has, kind of like slowed you down in kind of getting going with whatever this might be, and pertaining to, let's see here. What is that about? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So taking rest, actually, I'm seeing, like resting up and finding a balance in your energy. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes we have to learn. Personally, I can really like learning and finding like a balance of, having different commitments and only so much time, like getting busier in adult life. I've been having to kind of, it's been putting a lot of things in perspective of like what my priorities are and what I have to do to serve, my kind of list of priorities. And in that process, certain things are kind of like, falling to the wayside, certain relationships, friendships, interests, hobbies, certain things I put my time and energy towards, having to be more wise, conscientious, kind of diligent, structured, and responsible, and giving myself the balance and time I need. So I feel like this card, coming underneath the Queen of Pentacles here, is kind of suggesting, to take rest and find balance, to perhaps bring things into prioritive perspective. Yeah, and underneath the death and transformation card, I feel like this has something to do with some kind of like authority. I feel like this is trying to communicate, to come up into your upright authority. And again, kind of following the last bit of communication in the last moment about priorities and, kind of getting things into focus and like getting things, in order towards what is really important. I feel like the Emperor card here in reverse underneath death is suggesting about really kind of bringing into further focus what is kind of possibly out of order in our life, what is out of our domain. Perhaps this is pertaining to our domain, our household, our place of work, whatever it is that we have control and creative domain over, to be able to bring that into focus more, that we can optimize, our place, to be able to really facilitate this transformation that we're going, and understanding that, let's go underneath the Tower now. What is there? The Two of Pentacles, this wondering of like, where is this going with this new beginning, this new kind of journey here, as it's leading us into the forest, into the world, where different creatures live, different companies, people, things, all this different business. And you see this child who's kind of being hypnotically allured, by this divine hand with the Ouroboros, the sun and the moon, these different cosmic forces, understanding that we're, underneath the Tower. I feel like this is saying something about understanding that this is also aligning underneath the crown chakra card. So I feel like this is saying that there's kind of higher purpose, a kind of higher destiny, the wheel of fortune, that there's life has kind of brought us to this point, to be able to kind of get us redirected and kind of rerouted towards something. And we have a great opportunity here, when it comes to the wheel of fortune and the universality of how things go into motion and how creation unfolds, so to seize that, and to trust our intuition, and serving all of that. Let's see what's underneath the Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, we have the Strength reversed. So I feel like this is saying that, it's reminding us to, keep in perspective and check ourselves in balance about how we are, serving the, how we're utilizing, our time with discipline, our time and our behaviors, that raw animal power, that animal nature, that has urges and cravings, and is it tamed or is it untamed? If we can bring this from its imbalanced side to its upright position, this person has tamed the lion, tamed the beast, tamed that great force. That force is you. That force is your being. That is your life force energy, what you have to make with, right? Day in, day out. And we've all had times where we're just doing a lot of things right, that are getting things and getting our priorities right, putting certain things first, taking good care of ourselves, doing all the things. And it's just like, oh, I feel great. I'm fulfilled, like for me, I'll be real honest. Like I need to exercise more. I know that if I do that, if I get the discipline and get that habit down, things will really start moving with the wheel of fortune here. And I'll be able to pour in more energy, more potently towards the things that I want to manifest and experience in life. I'm going to do one last drawing here with the regular tarot cards. Yeah, we have the Five of Wands, and I feel like this is really kind of highlighting the overall theme. To me, this is about juggling, bringing things in the balance. And again, like I was talking about earlier with priorities, right? Some things go to the wayside and some things come forward, like what is really important on this journey. You can see she's on this path, but there's all these little, like minion, baby, I don't know, small people who are, like, clamoring all over her. She has these responsibilities. Maybe they're children, maybe this metaphorically represents like all these different responsibilities. Are you taking on too many responsibilities? Might some things have to kind of, get cut back? Maybe we got to put something more into something else. So I'm going to draw underneath that. Yeah, and the Seven of Cups, yeah, taking the time to actually kind of reflect and assess, what is it that we're juggling, what kind of energy and time we're using, what things do we have to let go of and, maybe pass on and delegate to somebody else or relinquish our responsibility around, and what other things do we need to kind of bring into focus and put more energy into, my dear Capricorn friends. Yeah, we see this kind of like dreaming, like, ooh, what are these? There's this, there's that. What do I want? It's going to bring you fulfillment and order. So that's underneath the Destiny card. So I feel like that's kind of a key towards this kind of unfoldment of destiny here. Intuition and, kind of a prioritization and taking the time to actually kind of like reflect and understanding that. So I'm going to draw a animal totem card here. And we'll see what comes up for the month of 2023 in March. Yeah, this one here. What do we got? We got the Sacred. Yeah. So kind of, I feel this one resonating with destiny, intuition, and then also the Emperor reversed here. So we have the Starfish. The Starfish very slowly but gradually. If we could see it in fast forward, you can find videos of this on YouTube of, starfish and other shellfish just fast forwarding, eating all over the ocean and spawning and everything. It's quite amazing to see in fast forward because, to the naked eye, they move relatively so slow, but they're very sensitive. They have a clear structure, their arms, their sensitivity of understanding their environment. They have to really trust their senses and follow their senses in their environment, to get what they need. But I imagine it's quite reliable. So I feel like this is telling us to remember the sacred, remember of why we're doing what we're doing. Right. So this may relate to purpose and mission, of like, why are we here in this life? Like, why did we sign up for this as a soul? Like, what's the themes at play for us individually and how we connect with the world? Right. What is sacred? If it's not serving something sacred, what's the point? Because then is it desecrating things, like killing off dolphins, like whale farmers and poachers and stuff, like, oh, I'm getting my money, getting my delicacy for a certain rich class of people, but like you're killing off the dolphins, like, come on, that's terrible. So anyways, now going to look into the obsidian orb to see if spirit has any more kind of gleaming insights to reflect for you, Capricorn. Trials. Understanding the trials and errors. Errors are not something to avoid, but to embrace for how they give us feedback to understand the reality. Understanding the reality helps us be able to transmit effectively our expression of who we are and what we have to bring to life. I'm seeing something about trust, transmission, or perhaps travel. Understanding the destination. One need not know necessarily the end results of the destination or where it takes them, but understanding that the journey and the satisfaction and the alivement of taking the steps necessary, going on the journey, that itself we may find is truly fulfilling, truly worthwhile. And do not regret. And this connects with the crown chakra, being tethered to the sacred and the divine, of understanding that there is a greater process at play, and to follow our intuition. And fear not death in its many forms, for death is a liberation and a transformation, a release of energy. Think about how much food we eat. Think about all that food, the life of it. It was sacred, made in an image, living in a web full of relations in this beautiful, mysterious world that we consumed, that we transformed and made anew in our body to take and give, to express, to live. And there is waste with that, but that waste may be fertile for other life to grow. Everything's got to eat somehow. Even a crystal. Pressure. All right, Capricorn. Let's see if there are anything in the blind spots for you for this month, March 2025. I almost said 2023. What are we doing here? Going back to the future, I guess. No, it's this one right here. The 9. Interesting. I've seen this one before. So let's see what Teal Swan has written about the sigil. Just grok that for a second. How does this sigil, what does that communicate to you? All right, now listen. The 9. Coping. If you have drawn the sigil, you are currently coping. Cope. You are coping in a situation where you need to do something other than cope. To cope is to make a specific alteration mentally, emotionally, or physically so that you can manage or adapt to something that is causing you stress. Remember this card? Coping. But there's something besides coping that this will get to. A coping mechanism is a specific procedure, process, or technique which manages or allows you to adapt to stress. Some examples of coping mechanisms are addictive behaviors like cutting, binge eating, smoking, gambling, denial, humor, attacking, regressing, overcompensation, humility, self-blaming, avoidance, dissociation, positive focus, escaping into movies, books, or imagination, intellectualization, distancing, falling asleep, passive aggression, projection, repression, and substitution, or eating cupcakes. Cupcakes. Stress is serious business. A human being cannot thrive in an atmosphere of stress. When a human being goes into a state of distress, well-being immediately declines, and so it is only natural that we should want to make a change to the situation as quickly as possible. But often the situation that is causing us distress cannot be eradicated. It is out of our control to eradicate the stressor, so we are forced to manage with it and adapt to it. This is especially true in childhood, when we did not call the shots about our own life. The people around us did. Many of these coping mechanisms allow us to survive distressing circumstances in our lives so that we can keep on living and expanding despite the stress. They benefit us in some way when they are invented. But over time, we can see that the very coping mechanisms that benefited us are, in fact, the very things that are hurting us and the people around us. What once allowed for our expansion is now making our expansion impossible. So, like for me, going back to how I was saying, like, I feel like if I really get on regular exercise and just like being more physically active outside of my job and being structured and disciplined with that, how that's going to start like burning and metabolizing a lot of different energy in my life and help me be able to focus and direct and put more energy, into motion. And transforming things, liberating some things, getting free of more weight, essentially, right? And optimizing my energy and my expression fully. Yeah, and the coping for me is just like comfort zone. Like, all right, I'm going to play some video games, watch some YouTube, watch something, right? When it can be hard, to get out of our cope, because it keeps us comfortable. It's something that we learn to adapt, like it says, to stress, but that it's not exactly taking care of the stress, So another way to put that, to make it relative and personal, for example, is, I know it would be good for me to go exercise, but staying in that comfort zone, I'm kind of foregoing things, just kind of kicking the bucket down the road a little bit, being like, I'll get to it up there. I'll get up to it there. But that act of doing something healthy in place of, less than, let's say productive coping mechanisms, like just being lazy, let's say generally, is just, again, kind of kicking things down the road when it comes to, again, the context of this full spread of like, how are you going? What are you, keep this. What are you working on achieving, really? What are you working on, like, building, for like the satisfaction of life, to bring that to full expression or more full expression. So when we grow up and find ourselves in situations that are absolutely changeable, where we do have the power to diminish or eradicate the stressors, we do not always realize it. In accordance with the illusion of powerlessness we perceive in ourselves, we simply indulge immediately in our coping mechanism instead of actually making positive changes to our life. If you have drawn the sigil, the time has come to see that you're not actually making an improvement to your life relative to the situation. You need to make a change that actually changes the situation instead of continuing to cope with it. Because in this situation, as difficult as it may seem or be, you actually do have the power to make a change to the entire situation, provided that you will first choose with your free will to stop coping with it. So I encourage you, fellow Capricorns, to do it. Just do it. Sheila LaBeouf. So, awesome. Capricorn, let's go. Little ding, peaceful ding, meditative ding. Once again, my name is Steve. Thanks for tuning in to Soulfire Tarot. Please give a like or a thumbs down if you want. If you didn't like it, that's cool, whatever. Life goes on. And if you have any feedback or anything resonated with you, give me a little comment. All right. Peace. Thank you.